call the License Committee to order at 6:40. And we have two items of business this evening. From the docket of November 7th, 2023, I would entertain a motion to approve the renewal application from Cartown USA, Inc., 680 Washington Street, with 9 customer parking spaces and 20 display spaces.
Second.
Thank you. I visited Cartown, I think maybe 2 weeks ago, and that's on Washington Street. Everything is totally in order, and really, they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. Are there any questions?
No questions.
Seeing no questions, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And opposed, none. And now we have one other item of business. I would entertain a motion to strike the following from the docket of September 19th, 2023. I entertain a motion to strike the request of Jenny Beck and Dan Harlow of Pike Avenue to keep more than one unregistered vehicle on their property as in section 9-32.3.
Second.
Thank you. We were supposed to have there was a public hearing scheduled. They did not participate. They did not advertise it in the paper. Basically, they didn't do what they wanted to do. And so that's why I'm making a motion to strike it. And are there any questions?
No.
None? All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Motion passes 3-0. We call for an adjournment. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 3-0. We are adjourned at 6:42.
That's good. I call ordinances, elections, and legislative matters to order at 6:42. Members of this committee include myself, Councilors Bennett and Holmes. Tonight, just have 2 pieces of business. So first off, I entertain a motion to strike the following public hearing request on November 21st, 2023 for changes to 7-8.2 of the city ordinance, requesting a review and overhaul of the abatement process for non-municipal users of the city's rubbish recycle program.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. So the reason why we're striking this public hearing request is the timeline seems to be a little too short to review this and properly address this this matter. So we're going to postpone this and hopefully deal with this in the next term. So, any questions, comments, concerns?
I do. So
Yes.
we're gonna wait for the new year and then can we call for a public hearing for sometime in January now?
I suppose we could.
Get it on there.
Yeah, I suppose we could, but I don't see any harm in doing that in a couple of weeks as well. Right, we've got time before the end of the year to see what the
I
schedule
agree,
looks like.
because we have to.
Yeah.
Check the
Yeah.
schedule.
Yeah, hopefully not have to strike it again if we pick a date that might not work for whatever reason. Okay, thanks for those comments. Any further questions, comments? Okay, very good. Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Second matter has to do with, let's see, Sustainability Commission. So second matter, I entertain a motion to strike the following public hearing request for the following proposal to amend Chapter 2 of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro by adding a Sustainability Commission.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. So the reason for this, I consulted with the city solicitor last week, who advised that we do not need a second public hearing for this matter. So the outstanding question following our last committee meeting was whether another public hearing was necessary since 90 days had lapsed between the public hearing that we held back in February. So the city solicitor advised that that's only necessary for zoning ordinances, and that's a matter of state law. So that's where that comes from. There was some outstanding questions around that. So now that we've cleared that up, we'll go ahead and just hopefully strike the public hearing for that. And I plan to propose an amendment to the current language to the Sustainability Commission next week, and also plan to invite Mike Davis, who's been pretty involved with this process of crafting some language, proposed language for Sustainability Commission, and hopefully move forward in that direction. So those are my thoughts on that. Any further questions, comments?
No, that sounds good.
Okay, all right, very good. Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? None. Motion passes. So that concludes the business for ordinances, elections, and legislative matters. I move to adjourn at 6:46.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned at 6:42, or 6:46, I'm sorry. Thank you.
I'd like to call public safety to order at 6:47. I have two motions this evening. From the docket of November 7th, 2023, I entertain a motion to accept this grant and approve expending of such funds and any future grant amendments by the Attleboro Police Department. The receipt of $14,960 from the FY23 Edward Bryan Memorial Justice Assistant Grant through the New Bedford Police Department and the U.S. Department of Justice. No match is required by the city, and funds must be expended no later than September 30, 2026.
Second.
We get this most every year, and it's a grant that we put to use, so I'm sure they're gonna find an adequate place to use this. Any questions? Hearing none? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Secondly, I entertain a motion to strike the following. The request that the City of Attleboro adopt a Massachusetts Police Pay Incentive Program called the Quinn Bill. I won't read this whole paragraph for you, but we've been pushing to get this back on the police department's rolls so they can compete with other communities around us in Iowa. The mayor has been gracious enough to back it when they did their contract negotiations. They're gonna receive half of what the Quinn Bill originally was paying, and we'll leave it open to the next police contract, or hopefully before that, if she sees fit, the mayor to grant an extended raise. But at least we got half of it, and it makes a big difference to a lot of those patrolmen out there, and it makes a big difference when we go to hire. Now we can at least try to compete with other communities that pay more money. So, any questions on striking that request?
I don't think any.
You need a second.
Yeah. Second. I thought I seconded that. Yes, second.
Any, yes, Rich?
I'm sorry to see this go, and I fear that other communities are racing ahead of us in their salary schedules. So I hope that by adopting only half of this doesn't result in a depletion of ranks in the police department as other communities are accelerating beyond us. I would have preferred to have seen it fully adopted, but I'm sure you feel the same way.
I pushed for it, Richard, for a long time.
No, it's been
You
on
know,
the docket
it
for
was-
18 months.
It was promised to me by the past administration twice, in front of witnesses, that it would be in the budget. In both budgets, it wasn't there,
Welcome to my world.
right? And I was very disappointed, extremely disappointed. But at least this is what the police asked for in their bargaining. I was hoping they would hold out and get the whole thing, but they didn't. So my conjecture is, and I won't be here, but next year, maybe we could or this council could bring it up to increase the Quinn bill to the original standards, so we can better compete with communities around us.
Well, as you can see, it's a bill that was introduced by me, and I won't be here either, so
Yeah,
we'll leave it up to others.
right. Yes, Kelly?
My hope is that going forward, the city will see more positive retention numbers and maybe even recruiting numbers as a result of putting this in their contracts, and that may encourage a movement in that direction in the future. So I certainly hope to see that.
Well, I had a positive, real positive discussion with the current administration. And she believes in education. And she believes that the police department, has to compete. So I was pleased to work with her on this. And I was pleased with her reaction, so let's give it a little prayer. Any other comments, questions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Move to adjourn at 6:51.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we are adjourned. Thank you.
This is your, this is.
This meeting of the Municipal Council to order at 7 o'clock. Please join me for a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would entertain a motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? We now operating under suspended rules. It is an election night, there will be no public hearings. I would now entertain a motion to enter into committee of the whole.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. I would entertain a motion to arise from committee of the whole.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We have now back into the regular meeting. We will now go into a reading of the mayor's communication. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. President. November 7th, 2023. Dear Municipal Councilors, on October 17th, 2023, your honorable body approved by unanimous vote to accept 66 public ways in the city of Attleboro. I have been advised that as a curative measure related to a delay, in the street acceptance process set forth in the special act approved for this purpose, the city should submit a second and related special act to validate the October 17th vote. Said special act is attached, having been reviewed by the city solicitor and is approved as to form. Supporting documents provided.
Thank you. Zoning and land use, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Attleboro Public Schools Director of Finance Mark Furtado regarding the following fiscal year 23 fiscal obligations that were not received in time to be processed in the normal fiscal year 23 business cycle. Name of the vendor is Skills USA Massachusetts. The amount is $173.33. Therefore, I
Finance
hereby...
committee, please.
Thank you. I respectfully submit a communication from Health Department Outreach Worker Case Manager Tisha Silva regarding the donation of gift cards totaling $325 from the Holiday Spirit Committee in accordance with Section 1-12 of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro. I hereby request your honorable body to accept these generous donations to the City of Attleboro, supporting documents provided.
City property and claims, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Chief of Police Kyle P. Hegney requesting funds to pay a fiscal year 23 invoice due to an unanticipated cost increase. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body transfer $1,372.01 from account 1210100-587060 police vehicle and equipment replacement to account 1210100-578020 police bills from previous years, supporting documents provided.
Public safety.
I respectfully submit a communication from Economic Development Director Catherine Feerick regarding the receipt of a Mass Development Brownfields Redevelopment Fund grant in the amount of $165,000 to perform environmental remediation at the site of the former American Metal Craft Building located at 53 Falmouth Street. In accordance with Chapter 1, Section 12 of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro, I hereby request your honorable body to approve expending such funds in any future grant amendments. Supporting documents provided.
Public works, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Superintendent of Public Works Michael Tyler requesting funds for the mandated 6-year maintenance and hydro testing of the central fueling station's fire suppression system at 101 Lamb Street. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body transfer $9,875 from account 1124100-578300 Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account 1420100-530181 Public Works Fire Suppression Services, supporting documents provided.
Public works, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Personnel Director Lynn Davin requesting funds to purchase a badge printer for employee ID badges. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body transfer $2,300 from account 1124100-578300 Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account 1152100-542020 Personnel Supplies Office Equipment, supporting documents provided.
Personnel and Veterans and Human Services, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Director of Recreation Dennis Walsh regarding the need to replenish funds used to hire Nationwide Aquatics to perform a dye test to determine where the leak was in Briggs Pool. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body transfer $2,270 from account 1124100-578300 Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account 1630100-530101 Recreation Professional Services, supporting documents provided.
Public works, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Superintendent of Public Works, Michael Tyler, requesting funds to build a new 8x8 block building with metal door to replace the plastic shed. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body transfer $12,456.24 from account 1124100-578300, citywide reserve fund for transfer to the following.
DPW, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Treasurer Laura Gignac regarding office furniture that the Treasurer's office would like to surplus. Therefore, there was no interest in listed items from any of the departments. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body to declare the following as surplus and available for disposition. Supporting documents provided.
City Property and Claims, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Superintendent of Schools David Sawyer regarding a copy of the school department would like to surplus. There was no interest in the copier from any of the departments. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body to declare the following as surplus and available for disposition. Supporting documents provided.
City Property and Claims, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Director of Recreation Dennis Walsh regarding equipment that the Recreation Department would like to surplus. There was no interest in this equipment from any of the departments. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body to declare the following as surplus and available for disposition. Supporting documents provided.
City Property and Claims, please.
As you know, Personnel Director Lynn Davin has identified a need for an update to the city's job safety trainings and protocols. After further review, it has become clear that to better assess their particular job safety training needs, we are in need of an updated safety, health, and compliance program for city departments similar to those programs recently secured for the DPW and the water and the wastewater departments. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body transfer $35,000 from account 1124-1000-578300, citywide reserve fund for transfer to account 1152-1000-530180, personnel safety study. Supporting documents provided.
Personnel, Veterans, Human Services, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Building Commissioner William McDonough regarding a vehicle that the Inspection Department would like to surplus. There was no interest in this vehicle from any of the departments. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body to declare the following as surplus and available for disposition. Supporting documents provided.
City Property and Claims, please.
Following his review of correspondence the city received recently from the ACLU alleging that Section 12-3.3P of the revised ordinances appears on its face to be unconstitutional and potentially problematic in its enforcement, and having conducted an independent review and analysis of this issue, the city solicitor has advised that in his view, it is likely that in any legal challenge, a court would conclude that the language of Section 12-3.3P is unconstitutionally vague, and that the city should delete Section 12-3.3P accordingly. As a result, I respectfully request that Section 12-3.3P of the revised ordinances be deleted in its entirety and replaced with the word reserved, so as to avoid the need for the city to renumber other provisions and adjust associated internal cross-references.
Ordinances, Elections, and Legislative Matters, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Personnel Director Lynn Davin requesting to add a new position on the exempt classification plan. A review of the Personnel Assistant 2 position has found that the obligations, functions, and level of authority and responsibility have changed significantly over the past several years. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body add the position of Assistant Personnel Director in placing the position at grade 10 on the exempt classification plan. I fully support this recommendation and ask that your honorable body approve this change. Supporting documents provided.
Personnel, Veterans, Human Services, please.
Excuse me. Attleboro has a rich history of military service, and I believe it's time for the city to establish an appropriate and fitting monument to honor our residents who served in the Gulf War and the Global War on Terror. I have contacted VFW Post 115, and they have agreed to lead the effort of developing this monument, which will stand as a lasting tribute to our veterans who answered the call of our country in Desert Storm, Desert Shield, and the Global War on Terror. The monument will also honor the sacrifices of the families members of those who served. The completed monument will be donated to the city and be installed on the Veterans Memorial Common. I have appointed several veterans and community members to a volunteer ad hoc GWOT Monument Campaign Steering Committee to assist Post 115 in the planning, design, construction, and installation of the monument. The committee will also work with other area veteran groups, local businesses and organizations, and community members to support the monument project through various fundraising efforts. Additionally, Ben Quell, Attleboro's Director of Veteran Services, will be working with the committee and Post 115 on this project. Tax deductible donations may be made to VFW Post 115 GWOT Monument Donation Fund. To accomplish this important objective, I respectfully request your honorable body approve the attached resolution authorizing me to enter into a memorandum of understanding between the City of Attleboro and Gilbert Perry VFW Post 115. Lastly, please join me in acknowledging the following veterans and community members who volunteered to serve on the GOT Monument Campaign Steering Committee. Julie Hall, Air Force; Laura D. Simone, Army; Shane Rio, Army; Brian Donato, Marines; Walter Thibodeau, Air Force; Josh Bove, Marines; Frank Cook, former Municipal Council President and Historian; Scott Mercier, resident; and Neil Bowie, resident. Supporting documents provided.
Personnel, Veterans, Human Services, please.
Excuse me. For your information, I have appointed Navy veteran and Attleboro resident Mark Deloria to the Ad Hoc Veterans Advisory Board. Please join me in thanking Mark for his service to our country and our veterans.
Thank you, Mark. That is an FYI.
I respectfully submit a communication from City Treasurer Laura Gignac regarding a loan authorization for rehabilitation of a 30-inch sewer crossing located off of Tiffany Street. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body to approve the following loan order. Ordered that $500,000 is appropriated for the labor, materials, and equipment necessary for the rehabilitation of the existing sewers, including, but not limited to, the following: preparatory cleaning of existing sewers, CCTV inspection, installation of cured-in-place pipelining, which is the CIPP, a 30-inch sewer, and all miscellaneous work, and cleanup as specified or required to complete the work off of Tiffany Street, collectively the project, including the payment of all costs incidental or related thereto. That to meet this appropriation, the treasurer, with the approval of the mayor, is authorized to borrow $500,000 under Section 8(5) of Chapter 4 of the general laws or any other enabling authority, and that the mayor is authorized to take any other action necessary or convenient to carry out this project. Supporting documents provided.
Public Works, please.
For your information, the city was notified by the Department of Revenue on November 3rd, 2023, of our general fund free cash approval and the Water and Wastewater Enterprise Fund retaining earning as of July 1st, 2023.
Do you mind just reading the numbers,
Follows
please?
general fund, $10,308,026, $1,308,170, $1,558,065. General fund, water enterprise fund, and wastewater enterprise fund. I gotta take a drink of water.
Yep, no, thank you. That's FYI for sure.
Sincerely, Kathleen D. Simone, Mayor.
We will now go on to a reading of the clerk's communication.
Clerk's communication. We have received 24 Class 2 license renewal applications.
Refer to the License Committee, please.
We have received 3 Class 1 license renewal applications.
License Committee, please.
We have received 1 Class 3 license renewal applications.
License Committee, please.
We've received an automatic amusement device license application for Demoulas Supermarkets Incorporated, 1200 Newport Ave, for 2 ride-on machines.
License Committee, please.
We have received the certificate of vote from the planning board stating that the planning board voted unanimously, 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absent, to recommend to the municipal council to adopt the following proposed amendments to the zoning ordinance, specifically Section 17-3.5, Table of Accessory Use Regulations, Section 17-4.5, Accessory Structures, and Section 17-11.2, Definitions of the zoning ordinance as follows.
You may waive the rest of that reading, as we all have a copy, zoning and land use,
I
please.
appreciate that. That concludes communications for tonight.
Excellent. We will now go into committee reports. As always, we will begin with Councilor Waterman.
Thank you. We have a number of items. First, from the docket of November 7th, 2023. I would move to approve the Class 3 renewal application from Tri-Town Auto, 1850 County Street, with 4 customer parking spaces and 6 display spaces.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any comments?
No, we talked about that in committee.
Additional questions or comments? Seeing none, this requires a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
And from the docket of November 7th, 2023, I would also move to approve the Class 2 license renewal application from Tri-Town Auto Sales, 1850 County Street, with 4 customer parking spaces and 6 display spaces.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any comments?
No, none.
Additional questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll have a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Okay. And from the docket of November 7th, 2023, I move to approve the Class 1 license renewal application from Just Trailers, Inc., 1863 County Street, with 12 customer parking spaces and 7 display spaces.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any comments?
Everything is in order at Just Trailers, no issues.
Additional questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll have a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
From the docket of November 7th, 2023, I move to approve the Class 2 license renewal application from Courtesy Auto Group, Inc., DBA Courtesy Kia Mitsubishi at 11 and 16 Scott Street, 34 customer parking spaces, 172 display spaces.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any comments?
We did a very nice tour of their facility. I was very pleased, and everything's in good order.
Thank you for that. Additional questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll have a voice vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
From the docket of November 7th, 2023, I move to approve the renewal application from Cartown USA, Inc., 680 Washington Street, with 9 customer parking spaces and 20 display spaces.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any comments?
The same as I said before, we had a good visit there as well, and I'm pleased with what they're doing, so everything's fine.
All right. Thank you. Additional questions or comments? Seeing none, this also requires a voice vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
And finally, from the docket of September 19th, 2023, I move to strike the request of Jenny Beck and Dan Harlow of Pike Avenue to keep more than 1 unregistered vehicle on their property as in Section 9-32.3.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any comments?
We talked about that in committee as well, but they did not come to the public hearing, and they did not pursue this, so that's why I'm suggesting that we strike it.
Okay. Additional questions or comments? Seeing none, this also requires a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
And that makes up all the motions this evening from the License Committee.
Thank you for your work on that. I know you're entering into your busy season with license, so
I am.
thank you. Councilor Dolan.
Thank you. Reporting for Public Works from the docket of November 7th, 2023. I move to transfer $6,714.72 from account Water Enterprise Fund Reserve Fund for transfer to account Water Enterprise Fund bills from previous years to pay a fiscal year 23 invoice from Rochester Bituminous.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any comments?
No, we discussed in committee.
Additional questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote, beginning with Mr. Waterman.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Vice President Cobus?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Mr. Tavares?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
From the docket of November 7th, 2023, I move to transfer $57 from account Water Enterprise Fund Reserve Fund for transfer to account Water Enterprise Fund bills from previous years to pay a fiscal year 23 invoice to New England Testing Laboratory, Inc.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any comments?
No comments.
Additional questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote, beginning with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Mr. Tavares?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Vice President Cobus?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
From the docket of October 3rd, 2023, I move to approve the request of National Grid to construct a line of underground electric conduits, including the necessary sustaining and protecting fixtures under and across public ways at 27 through 39 South Main Street.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
No, this is the new building where the fishnet was.
Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, we'll have a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
That's all the business for Public Works, and we call for a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Good. Councilor Conti.
Thank you, Mr. President. Reporting for the Finance Committee, I have 3 motions for the council this evening, beginning with motion from the docket of November 7th, 2023. I move to transfer $312.32 from the Treasurer Banking Services account to the Treasurer Banking Data Process Supplies account to purchase W-2s, 1099s, and envelopes for calendar year 2023.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
It's self-explanatory, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you. Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote, beginning with Councilor Waterman.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Vice President Cobus?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Mr. Tavares?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. President. From the docket of November 7th, 2023, I move to transfer $6,613.54 from the citywide reserve fund for transfer account to the Education Bristol AGHS debt assessment account for the Bristol County Agricultural High School debt service for fiscal year '24.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
This is routine. We vote this every year. The numbers change, but the debt doesn't. That concludes my comments.
Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote, beginning with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Mr. Tavares?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Vice President Cobus?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Mr. President, from the docket of September 19th, 2023, with a public hearing that was held on October 17th, 2023, I move to approve the following loan order requests.
We may waive the reading.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
Yes, Mr. President. Councilor Bennett had asked for a schedule of completion for the Wading River Water Treatment Plant, and in a sheet that I distributed to all councilors, the clerk, and to our administrative assistant this evening, the construction final completion will take place on August 6, 2027, God willing. That concludes my comments.
Thank you for getting this. I think this is helpful to all of us. Thank you for raising the concern, Councilor Bennett. Additional questions or concerns? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote, beginning with Councilor Waterman.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Vice President Cobus?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Mr. Tavares?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. President. That concludes the business the Finance Committee has to bring before the council this evening. We look forward to a meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Bennett.
Thank you. Reporting for Transportation and Traffic Committee, I have three motions for this, just 2 motions for this evening. From the docket of October 3rd, 2023, I move to hold a public hearing December 5th, 2023 for the following: to amend revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro, Section 10-5.2A, prohibited on certain streets as follows: to delete Holman Street, southerly side, from Pleasant Street to Brook Street, and add Holman Street, southerly side, from Pleasant Street to Forest Street.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
Just a quick comment. As a reminder, currently there is no parking from Pleasant Street to Brook Street on Holman. This is just to extend it all the way down to the end of the road and help alleviate some of the issues we've seen with the bus driver having some difficulty getting through here.
Very good.
That's all. Thank you.
Additional questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll have a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
I move to approve the following amendment: request to amend 10-4.11 of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro, isolated stop signs, to add southbound drivers on Steeplechase Circle at Bishop Street.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
No comments. This was discussed in committee. Thank you.
Additional questions or comments? Seeing none, this requires a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
That concludes the business of the Transportation and Traffic Committee for this evening, and I request the meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you, Vice President Cobus.
IT and Infrastructure doesn't have any business tonight, but we call for a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you. Councilor Holmes.
Thank you. Reporting for Zoning and Land Use Committee from the docket of October 3rd, 2023, I move to approve the expending of the following grant and any further grant amendments regarding a $45,000 housing and livable communities best practice grant that will be used to hire a consultant to help the city create affordable housing trust fund and/or adopt the Community Preservation Act to fund production and preservation of affordable housing in the city.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any comments?
Thank you. So I was asked to get additional information, which I did receive. I know there was some concerns about what this would potentially mean, but we did ask the state for this grant, and it is to assess what the city does need to potentially, what can help us with affordable housing in the city. So I do support this, and I think the administration does as well, and I would encourage everybody to vote in favor.
Additional questions or comments? Vice President Cobus.
I looked into it a little bit, and I also support this.
Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote, beginning with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair.
Yes.
Mr. Tavares.
Yes.
Mr. Angelo.
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds.
Yes.
Ms. Holmes.
Yes.
Vice President Cobus.
Yes.
Ms. Bennett.
Yes.
Mr. Conti.
No.
Ms. Dolan.
Yes.
Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
President Delicio.
Yes.
10 yeas, 1 nay.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. That concludes the business for zoning and land use, and I will call for a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Councilor Holmes. Councilor Reynolds.
Thank you. Reporting for the City Property and Claims Committee from the docket of November 7th, 2023. I move to approve a 36-month lease agreement between Quadient and the City of Attleboro for one Versafeeder for the folding machine.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any
I
comments?
have none.
Additional questions or comments? Seeing none, this requires a roll call vote, beginning with Councilor Waterman.
Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
Ms. Dolan.
Yes.
Mr. Conti.
Yes.
Ms. Bennett.
Yes.
Vice President Cobus.
Yes.
Ms. Holmes.
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds.
Yes.
Mr. Angelo.
Yes.
Mr. Tavares.
Yes.
Mr. Blair.
Yes.
President Delicio.
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Oh, I'm sorry. That is all the business City Property and Claims Committee has this evening, but I would like to call a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you. Councilor Angelo.
Thank you, President Delicio. Reporting for Personnel, Veterans, and Human Services Committee. From the docket of November 7th, 2023, I move to approve the appointment of Braden LaPrade to fill an unexpired term on the Youth Commission, term to expire February 2025.
Second.
Motion's in order. Any comments?
We've met for Braden, Peter Gagny, and Sarah Carty. All wonderful. We'll be talking about this as I go on. All wonderful, and lucky to have them all.
Okay. Additional questions or comments? Seeing none, this requires a voice vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
From the docket of November 7th, 2023, I move to transfer $2,648.64 from account Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account Council on Aging prior year earned time payout.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any comments?
No, sir, we discussed this in committee.
Okay. Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote, beginning with Mr. Blair.
Mr. Blair.
Yes.
Mr. Tavares.
Yes.
Mr. Angelo.
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds.
Yes.
Ms. Holmes.
Yes.
Vice President Cobus.
Yes.
Ms. Bennett.
Yes.
Mr. Conti.
Yes.
Ms. Dolan.
Yes.
Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
President Delicio.
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
From the docket of November 7th, 2023, I move to approve the appointment of Peter Gagny, 747 North Main Street, to fill an expired term on the Municipal Building Commission, term to expire February 2026.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any comments?
No, sir.
Additional questions or comments? Seeing none, this requires a voice vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
From the docket of November 7th, 2023, I move to approve the appointment of Sierra Carty, 27 Olive Street, to fill an expired term on the Cultural Council, term to expire February 2026.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
No, sir.
Additional questions or comments? Seeing none, this requires a voice vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
That's all for Personal, Veterans, and Human Services Committee. I call for a meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you. Councilor Tavares.
Thank you, President Delicio. Reporting for ordinances, elections, and legislative matters. I have 2 items tonight. From the docket of October 17, 2023, I move to strike the request for a public hearing on November 21st, 2023 for changes to 7-8.2 of the city ordinance, requesting a review and overhaul of the abatement process for non-municipal users of the city's rubbish recycle program.
Second.
Thank you, Vice President Cobus. Motion is in order. Any comments?
As discussed in committee, we determined that there's not sufficient time to properly deal with this matter before the end of this term, so the more appropriate thing to do is to hold this public hearing in the next term of the council.
Okay, thank you for that. Additional questions or comments?
I have one.
Councilor Reynolds.
When should we plan for that? In January? Do we ask for it in a couple of weeks before this year ends, or do we ask for it in January?
So the piece of business is still in Councilor Tavares's committee. I think what I'd like to see from the committee is kind of really putting some substance into what we want those changes to be, so we can then present that to the administration, including Solid Waste Administrator Cheryl Perry. So I think it would be a little premature to put a date on it right now until we actually have something that we'd like to present at a public hearing, if that makes sense.
If you don't mind, we do have some of that in order. And I don't know, Jonathan, had you looked at it already?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's pretty succinct already.
So we can discuss that, you can discuss that in your next committee meeting, or you can wait until the first committee meeting of the new term. However, we can see how it all plays out and who's where and everything else, but certainly I think we could use some further discussion on it. Thank you. Additional questions or comments? Seeing none, this requires a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
From the docket of January 17, 2023, I move to strike the request for a public hearing on November 21st, 2023 for the following amendment to create a sustainability commission.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
Yes, so as discussed in committee as well, I spoke with the city solicitor who confirmed that we do not need a second public hearing on this. There was an outstanding question on that since 90 days had lapsed since the public hearing back in February of this year. That only pertains to zoning issues in zoning ordinances. So, so with that, we can simply strike this public hearing request.
Additional questions, comments, concerns? Councilor Tavares, thank you for your handling of this situation. I know it was a lot coming in midstream, and then the work you did with the solicitor to figure out if we needed the public hearing or not. This way here, we can move on this and just move along on it, so thank you.
Thank you.
Seeing no additional comments, this requires a voice vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Councilor Tavares.
That concludes the business of ordinances, elections, and legislative matters. I call for a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you, Councilor Blair.
Thank you. Reporting for Public Safety and Emergency Management. I have two motions. I move to accept this grant and approve expending of such funds in any future grant amendments by the Attleboro Police Department regarding the receipt of $14,960 from the FY23 Edward Bryan Memorial Justice Assistant Grant through the New Bedford Police Department and the U.S. Department of Justice. No match is required by the City of Attleboro, and funds must be expended no later than September 30th, 2026.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any comments?
No, we discussed it in committee.
Additional questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote, beginning with Councilor Waterman.
Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
Ms. Dolan.
Yes.
Mr. Conti.
Yes.
Ms. Bennett.
Yes.
Vice President Cobus.
Yes.
Ms. Holmes.
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds.
Yes.
Mr. Angelo.
Yes.
Mr. Tavares.
Yes.
Mr. Blair.
Yes,
President Delicio.
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
thank you. From the docket of May 3rd, 2022, a request that the city, I move to strike the following.
I may waive the reading.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any comments?
No.
Additional questions or comments or concerns? Seeing none, this requires a voice vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
We have no other business this evening, Mr. President. Call for a meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you, Councilor Blair. Councilor Conti.
Mr. President, the Special Committee on Tax Abatement Review has no business to bring before the council this evening.
Thank you. Counselor Angelo.
Thank you, President Delicio. Classification compensation is canceled for this evening. We call for a meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you. There is no old business, there is no new business. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned at 7:35.